Good morning, mi gente. It's 9 a.m. I know, gay people and an LGBTQ plus kiki at 9 in the freaking morning. You know what? That's why I'm still in bed. Me? I'm FayWhat? And I'm going to help you get your week started off right. We have lots of fun things to talk about. It's going to be a great week.
Rainbows, gay boys, hashtag that girl. Sunbeams, drag queens, L-word. Is that girl the girl of all our dreams? She's everything that every girl should be. Aqua, South Beach, hashtag that girl. Pride-filled, tea-dance, Wilton. Is that girl Latina, but she's universal too? If you find a girl to love, only one girl to love, then she'll be that girl too. That girl.
Presented by Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, the FayWhat Show's America's first LGBTQ plus morning show. And I'm broadcasting live and also available on demand on your favorite streaming channels. It's Monday, November 18th, 2024. Welcome to the FayWhat Show. Let's kiki about what's going on in the LGBTQ plus community. I have a sidekick in bed. You know who he is. You know him. You love him. And you know him and you love him, okay? Because our first segment is called Gay Boys Sleep Late, and this morning I'm joined by my gay guy pal, adult performer and star of For the Love of DILFs on LTV, Alex Tikas. Make sure you follow his adults-only Twitter at Alex_Tikas and catch him as he bartends at the world-famous Eagle, Wilton Manors. Good morning, Alex, and welcome back to my bed, baby.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm okay.
You're okay. You're very mellow. You're very mellow for you.
I've been thinking a lot this past week.
Oh my God. You know, I host church at Unity on the Bay twice a month. And like yesterday I got on the stage and I'm like, so how was your week?
Yeah.
Right?
What did you pray for?
You know, what triggered you this week? You know, and everybody, you could just see everybody just had like a sigh and like a face of like kind of bewilderment. Like I'm glad that they didn't have that at the end of service, but like, what a week.
By 1 a.m. that night, I was like, ugh. It's so funny. I was actually having a lesbian moment because I was building a drawer that I was like, I'm going to either wait. I'm going to hear the results or have this drawer done. And by 1 a.m. it was done. And I was like, fuck this, I'm going to bed. Because by that point, when you saw half of the state, if not, I think it's like 60 or 70% of turn red.
Yeah.
You're like, holy shit.
Holy crap.
What a wake-up call.
What a way. I mean, like in so many different ways. Like that night is kind of like a fog to me. Like a lot of us knew that we weren't going to, of course, we're talking about the elections, right? Again, you know, Harris versus Trump. And, you know, that night I had a feeling that we wouldn't know 100%, but I also didn't expect for Florida to go, Pam, red in a second.
Georgia,
like in a second.
Well, yeah, Florida went there, and then once Pennsylvania and Georgia, what else are you gonna do?
Yeah, because those were the swing states that everybody was fighting for, right?
You like a couple, like thinking about it. It's like it's a rough thing to say, but I'm just gonna say it.
Please.
Is America ready for a black woman to tell them what to do?
No. And you know what? You know what's even worse? You can even just say, was America ready for a woman?
Sure.
Okay?
Sure.
Because this ended up being a battle of the sexes, which is so crazy.
Yeah.
I had people that were undecided that would say, oh, I need to hear more from Kamala.
You need
to hear more.
Yeah.
Hasn't the other side already told you enough to make you know that she's the right decision?
But look at the Hispanic vote. The Hispanic vote went out for, you're Hispanic, aren't you?
I am.
Talk to them.
No, I am. And in my household, Wednesday and Thursday was very difficult. You know, my Cuban, right? She's only my Cuban, okay? You get your own Cuban. My Cuban was screaming against other Cubans on social media. She was not being nice to anybody. Like, she was done. She was just like, we're not going to go eat at a Cuban restaurant anymore.
God. Oh, she went out.
No, like she went out, you know? Trump has threatened and has said a lot of things about deporting a lot of people, right? And a lot of these people, and he's still saying that.
Get ready.
And a lot of these people's families voted for Trump, you know? And it's like the cognitive dissonance is so real that like you tell them like, hey, look, they might deport your family, and they can't see past Trump being Trump.
Once you get past your anger, it's like it skews more fast. It's just fascinating to me that this guy, gets like he just. I'm gonna say it again. He just won't die. You can edit that in post. I don't care. He just won't fucking die. And but loosely, like on a lower level, he does whatever the fuck he wants.
And nobody listens.
Nobody.
And nobody. He can do anything. He can do or say anything. He can threaten to say anything, and it doesn't matter. You know, he said, you know, he's besties with the Russian guy. He's besties with, you know what I mean? He's scary.
Yeah.
He's scary, you know? And let's talk about women's reproductive rights. Thank you, Florida, for also going against me as a woman, you know? And this was a lot of men voted against, you know, against having the Constitution not have a right to tell a woman what to do with their body.
What are they going to do about, like, so what if Project 2025 follows through and actually takes away marriage rights for gay people?
Yeah.
You're married for how long
I'm
now?
married. I've been married for 7 years, and there are rumblings about that Florida will be one of the first states to demand that marriage only be between a man and a woman.
The litigation, the lawsuits, the health insurance. Like, there are so many things that are like interwoven with gay marriage, as is with straight marriage. Mm-hmm. So now you're gonna rip those rights away, and the loss. The billion-dollar gays like really need to come together. Like,
but why would they? Because they're fine.
Yeah,
they don't have to.
True.
That's what's messed up about it, Alex.
True.
You know, and no, nothing's gonna happen tomorrow, folks. Okay, I know that a lot of people are super worried, and you should be worried, right? You know, my black trans siblings are freaking the fuck out, and of course, with good reason. You know, I've been able to talk to some of them this week, and there's a lot of tears. Like, we feel defeated. Like, we have fought and fought and fought. You know, would it have been different? Would it have been different if Biden stepped down sooner? I don't think so. I don't think that this country was ready for a woman, like you said. And at the end of the day, men were talking all this shit, and then when they went into the polls, they voted with another man.
She ran a great campaign. Like, she was really visible. She did her debate. The debate, for God's sake, the debate.
She wiped the floor with him.
The debate. Like, they're eating cats and dogs. Like, after you hear somebody say they're eating cats and dogs and they're stealing them you just stop listening to that person. Mm-hmm. But that person is going to be your president.
That person's going to be your president, Alex. And you laugh, but it's like, you know.
I'm laughing, but it's because
it's a nervous laugh.
It's like the Joker. Yeah. He laughs when he's sort of like, you know.
Yeah, when you're just like, what do I do with this shit, right? Like, what do I do? And what am I going to do with this for the next 4 years?
Totally.
Like, you know, it's like, wow, we didn't learn. We're like an abusive country, right? Like, this man abused the crap out of us for 4 years, but we went back to take more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The hurricane in Puerto Rico, there's nothing. I've done more for the Puerto Ricans than anybody. You throw paper towels at
and
them,
your comedian,
and they still vote for you.
And your comedian calls them an island of garbage.
And they still vote for you.
And you don't apologize for that.
It's hilarious.
And they still
vote for you. Yeah.
You know, the Latinos here, the Cubans here, the Venezuelans here, they all voted Trump-wise. You know, it's
good.
It's
now you know what? If you need to like burn it all down to see what happened, God forbid, but you know what I'm saying. Like, I hope they don't burn. Like, burn it all down can mean so many things. You know, we don't.
Yeah, that pendulum. I know. I understand what you're saying, Alex. Sometimes you have to go really extreme to come back and go to good. Yeah. You know, but how many people die in the process? How many people leave the state?
That's the part where you don't want to burn it. Whatever.
You know, like, I know at least 6 couples that have left Florida, Alex.
Once, maybe, and it's unfortunate, but maybe once that gay marriage thing happens, or once people realize, now that the abortion ban is like solid, maybe another Supreme Court justice decides to retire, and he's still in office before the whole other option was involved. Then maybe you're just gonna like see exactly what you created. Yeah. And that's what people need to see.
Man,
I don't know.
Well, there was 20 million Democrats didn't vote. Okay? 20 million! All right? What the F was so important that you couldn't go vote? Yeah. Explain that to me. You know, it's going to be a rude awakening in the future when the people who did vote for him are affected in some way, shape, or form, right? You know, the crazy guy with the worms, Kennedy, right? I mean, like,
oh my God.
he wants to get rid of everything, right? He was going to be, they're going to make him in charge of like education or medical or something, and it's like, he wants to get rid of everything.
He wants to get rid of fluoride in the water.
In the water. In the water. That's what he
so
wants
we can have British teeth.
So we can have British teeth. Okay? Even worse, he has been quoted as saying that HIV and AIDS is not real.
I can attest that for 20 years, it's definitely been real. At least. It's been
We have
very
proof.
real. It's been very real.
We have proof, okay?
It exists.
But these are just the kind of things. They
Yeah.
want to get rid of the National Weather Service. They want to get rid of FEMA. They want to get rid of,
What else?
I mean, look at Project 2025 and just see what's, I hate to say it, what could be coming, you know?
Yes, blessed be the fruit. So, remember that show? Yes.
Anyway, we'll be talking more about this. I'm sorry that we took up the
Okay, not to
beginning of the
bring
show for
anybody
that.
down. It's way
But
too early for
everybody's
this.
talking about that. Everybody's feeling it. Understand that you're allowed to feel your feelings. We all worked really, really hard. And, those of you who didn't go to vote, those of you who didn't work towards this greater good, unfortunately, you will be affected and you will see. And we'll take you back regardless, right? But it's going to be a tough 4 years, and we need to definitely unite and be with each other because it's not cute. Let's put it that way. All right. Okay. Let's talk about. Let's get out of this for a
Pop
second.
trivia,
because
please.
Let's talk about something in pop music
Yeah,
or
let's
pop
talk
culture.
pop
Let's be poppy. All right.
Gay and poppy.
Gay and poppy.
All right,
Let's talk about
good.
Marlon Wayans, and he's got an LGBTQ plus kid, so we're gonna talk about him. All right. So Marlon Wayans, known for White Chicks, opened up about his journey to accepting his trans son Kai. On the Block's podcast, he admitted, quote, "I tried to hypnotize that bitch. I protested against it, and I don't say that with pride. I look back on those actions and I'm ashamed," end quote. Wayans initially resisted Kai's transition, even imposing sanctions like withholding allowance. And Kai was like, so what? Fuck it, I'll starve, end quote. Today, Wayans uses his platform to support LGBTQ plus rights, including trolling bigots during Pride Month. Watch this.
Yeah. But you're trying to hold on, right? And you want this thing that's in your head, normalcy, and you think about your grandchildren and you all kinds of shit. And it's like, it's not on me to think about none of that. This is their life, and they should be happy. And if they do this or they want to change back, whatever they want to do, it's not on me to punch down on my child. It's on me to love my child. Period. That's all. All I could do is love my child, and that's what I do.
Did you try to talk them out of it?
Of course.
I
try to hypnotize that bitch.
I believe it.
No. I did. I was like, no, wait, hold on. And like I said, and I protested against it. And I don't say that with pride.
Right.
Right. I look back on those actions, and
it's funny how you can be
I'm ashamed.
so embarrassed by something you did 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Like that was I was only 50.
Crazy. I was embarrassed the moment I was forced to look in the mirror. I was embarrassed. And it only took me a week.
About your behavior?
Yeah.
It took you a week to realize like you're doing this wrong?
The transition for me, because their transition was like a 3-year process, 4-year process.
Yeah.
My transition was a week, one hard week. And I will say, I got to a beautiful place called acceptance. And I pray for a lot of parents, family members, and, just public, right, people in general.
Yeah.
It's not on us to judge anybody, right?
Right.
Marlon Wayans embarrassed about hypnotizing his own kid out of being gay. What are we all talking about? That's why everybody needs a gay kid. That's why everybody needs an LGBTQ plus kid, because it'll snap you back into some reality if you're a good parent.
I mean, I've been dickmatized and I've been buttmatized, but I don't think
been hypnotized?
I don't think trying to hypnotize your gay trans child. Mm-hmm. I don't hypnotizing. I wish it did. Maybe actually I don't wish it did. But imagine if hypnosis could cure. Look, it's a disease. If it turned you from gay to straight.
Imagine if it could.
Imagine if it could. Like
would there be, and there would be people that probably hate themselves so much that would probably go through with it,
Yeah.
But
and wouldn't work.
And it wouldn't work, or maybe it would, or whatever. But if that's something you're doing on your own, right, then that's your journey. And I'm sorry that you feel that way, but that is your journey, right? But when it's your kid and you're putting that on your kid,
Right.
like, I know people that have been to, God, what do you call it when they would do this therapy? They would do therapy to, what was it?
Conversion therapy.
Conversion therapy, okay? I know women that their parents put them through that, and they were never the same after, Alex.
Oh my God, yeah.
You know? Yeah. And their relationship with their parent was never the same either, because it's like, look, you tried this, I'm still gay, and now I'm like affected and have to talk to a therapist every week because of what happened, you know?
Here's what's wrong with you, let me help you change. Here's what's wrong. There's nothing. The kid is so cool, by the way. He's like, you know what? I'll starve.
Yeah.
Best.
Yeah, buy pieces.
Yeah, I'm gonna starve to
Deuces,
death.
your dad is Marlon, and your dad is a Wayans brother, okay? Your dad has loot. Your dad is still working. Your dad is still relatable. He's still like someone that people talk about and know and all that kind of stuff. Your life is not set, but you've got an allowance, right? You're good. You don't have to go get and do your little hustle or nothing, right? You're a freaking son of a Wayans brother. And he's like, nah, I'd rather starve. You're gonna cut my allowance? Okay, I'd rather starve.
But what Marlon did was he snapped out of it because it's his kid. At the end of the day, I love you more than. Not a lot of kids have that.
No.
But to have somebody, especially on that platform and that notoriety, to just say I love you and to support, and then to take his platform and to support.
Yeah.
We need all the help we can get.
We need all of that. And from a black comedian, I think it even stands as more, you know. Dwayne Wade, right? Dwayne Wade and his beautiful wife, right? Mm-hmm. They've got a trans child. He used to play for the Heat, and he picked up his family and left Florida because this was not the best place for a trans child to be, you know. But his support made these Heat fans all of a sudden take a look at LGBTQ+.
Right.
Even if it was just for a moment. Maybe they wouldn't have any other time, but when, Wade County, when Dwayne Wade is telling you, look, my kid is this way, and you need to be more aware of that, you're going to stop, and you're going to look at it.
And you didn't care about anything except the health and safety of his child.
And like you said, like he's talking about it. He doesn't have to talk about it at podcasts. He doesn't have to, unless Kai is out there on social media saying my dad is a dick, kind of like Elon Musk's daughter, right? Like Elon Musk's daughter that has all the reason to.
She tore him to shreds.
And is now leaving the country.
Oh, yeah, well.
Do you blame her? When your dad is Elon Musk and he's like basically, JD Vance ain't the vice president, not the future vice president. Elon Musk is the future vice president of this damn country. All right. Rachel Maddow.
Yes.
She's one of my favorite lesbians.
Is she?
Yeah.
How would you categorize her? Is she a lipstick? Is she a chopstick?
I think she's more a chapstick. I love her glasses and I am nerds. I'm attracted to nerds. And hashtag nerds are hot. So I don't want to get that bad. Don't be texting me or emailing me about how I'm mean to nerds. No, nerds are hot. Okay. My wife has 6 degrees, which we're still paying for, but it's hot. When she puts on that lab coat, I'm like, girl, take everything off under, use the stethoscope on me, make it happen.
It's all like, when they have the glasses and the jacket and the whatever. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh. They take everything.
You're like, look at you.
I did not see that.
So Rachel Maddow brought a lighthearted moment to MSNBC's intense pre-election coverage, delivering what many are calling the best line of the night. During a panel discussion on key voting trends, fellow host Nicole Wallace advised, quote, "Don't sleep on men," end quote. And Maddow, with perfect timing, responded, quote, "I've been saying that my whole life," end quote, prompting an eruption of laughter from her co-host. Another co-host, Joy Reid, quipped, quote, "No one's topping that. We're done," end quote. Thank you, Maddow, for the much-needed levity amidst election tension. Watch this.
It tells them what they're going to do in the Midwest. I think a lot of pollsters are looking at it. The Tom Bonyers of the world are going, I'd feel good about the Midwest after I saw this.
Well, and she also said don't sleep on men, and I've been saying this, and
yes.
I've been saying that my whole life.
I'm sorry, everybody. That's the very question. That's line of the day. No one's topping that. We're done.
I'm done.
We were done.
Rachel Maddow made everyone laugh election night, and it was exactly what we needed. What are we all talking about? Where do you go from there?
I'm glad I'm not the next person on that segment.
I've been saying that for years,
So I watched her show like a lot. so smart. And she's entertaining. She's still like an entertainer. I get it. You know, they're all pretty much entertainers for the most part, but you can tell like she fact checks. She does not let anything slide by her. And I don't know. She's kind of like somebody you want to like hang out with, I think.
Yeah.
I don't say that a lot about lesbians.
No,
Like,
I know. I'm your favorite lesbian. I know. You tell me that all the time to remind me. You know you're my favorite lesbian. You know all lesbians aren't like you. You know. And I'm like,
I don't say that. Do I say that? But you are my favorite lesbian.
you know, but like I wonder like if she talks about RuPaul's Drag Race like on her off time. You know what I mean? Like she just seems like she's always on.
But if she reports on it, she will know everything about
everything.
Every season. Every season, every country, every time.
Everything. And stats and everything, right?
Yeah.
And how long they were on camera and everything. Rachel Maddow, you keep doing your thing, okay? At the end of the day, you're still representing LGBTQ plus in that, right? In that format where we're not usually represented, you know? The words that come out of your mouth are respected, right? They're legitimate. They're not crap. And, you know, and no matter what, you're still representing us, you know, without even having to say it. So we really do appreciate it.
She'd be a good Grand Marshal.
She would be.
Yeah.
She would be.
So.
We were talking about grandpa porn, right, before the show, right? Because, you know, we always have fun things to talk about, me and Alex. And I swore you were about to say, she'd be good with grandma porn. And I was like, what? Like,
no. That's a whole other...
That's a whole other segment, which we'll have in future segments of the FayWhat Show, right? Next, Canadian TikToker and Instagram influencer Chris Zoe stirred up a lively discussion about sex standards in his latest video. Zoe breaks down the perceived ease of gay men getting laid, saying, quote, if I wanted to get my schlong wet right now, all I have to do is hop on Grindr and message a glory hole that's like 10 minutes away from me, end quote. Addressing common fears, Zoe debunks the bizarre worry that someone might, quote, chop it off at a glory hole. Oh. He says, quote, why would he do that? People who host glory holes really love schlongs, end quote. Watch this.
Head in your entire life. You do realize that straight men would willingly chop off both their balls for women to host glory holes throughout the city, right? Like, thankfully, women have something called self-respect, or else society would just collapse because men would just be visiting glory holes at any chance they get. So whenever you hear gay men on here complain about how like they can't find anyone and that no one wants them, the problem is not a lack of supply. The problem is that they have standard. Look, I'm all...
So Zoe, it just helps us just... Mythbuster the glory hole sentiments, all right? What are we all talking about? You were cracking up.
Well, it reminds me of the time that I got one of my exes a glory hole for his house.
Oh, wow, that's the gift that keeps on giving. What did you give your friend, a glory hole?
We went to Home Depot. Mm-hmm. We got the big plywood, and we had we did cut. We were lesbians.
We were lesbians. I was thinking, I was like, was Rachel mad out there?
And at the end of the day, when he would because that was one of his fetishes, so that was his fetish.
Okay.
So when he would want that to happen, and he would go on Grindr, and when they would come in, he would set it in place because we had there were two handles that are there, and that's what he did.
But that's a safe glory hole, right? Well, because you're having it at your house. Like Zoe is talking about going to...
Oh my God, in Wilton Manors, there were at least 2 that I allegedly know about.
Allegedly. Well, there's one that I allegedly knew about that was behind Ramrod and that little...
That's what...
Oh!
How did you know about it? Wait a minute.
So one of my good friends and also another boy in bed, Mark Pettit, is in the studio, right? And he's like, Faye, you're that lesbian that knows way too many things about gay guys. So like way too many things. And this is one of them, Mark, okay? Is that I know about the glory hole behind Ramrod. So that was, and you were all being discreet about it. You're so cute. And I'm like, I know of one.
Well,
you know.
I know of it.
Okay, yeah, know of it. But I mean, is that something that like when I think of a glory hole, I think of glory. I think of fun. I think of everybody knows what they're getting into. Do people think that somebody's going to come and chop it off?
No.
Okay.
We're not there. Nobody's there for that.
Okay. I mean,
like nobody's there for that. No, we're just. But it's amazing to me. Like, gay men will think of everything.
They think of
to
everything.
get the rocks off. It's hilarious.
And you guys have the strength to pull together something like making him a glory hole for his home. Like I'm literally imagining so Howard Andrew is a good friend of mine from Fab Scout, right? And so I go to his studio all the time because it's freaking fun, right? And to see the twinks and everybody and doing stuff, whatever. I'm that lesbian, leave me alone, right? I watch gay porn at home. Why not watch it in person, right? Anyway, but the stuff that they have, the props and stuff,
God,
like they have a locker room scene, they have like a dorm, and so the glory hole, I could imagine it just clicked on like a slider thing or something, and then
tight shot.
And then you could take, but it also comes down when you don't need it in the
And then you build the church with the altar.
They did have a church too.
I was a part of that movie. I was one of the 10 priests in that one. Good casting. Anyway, moving on.
Thank you, Howard. Oh my
Love
goodness.
you, Howard.
Wow.
Thank you for that.
Thank you for that. All right. Well, thank you for myth busting the glory hole stuff. All right. So the FayWhat show is part of one of the largest LGBTQ plus media companies in America. Hotspots Magazine has been documenting the LGBTQ plus experience for 40 years, and Happening Out Television Network has been bringing you daily LGBTQ plus news, talk shows, and more for 4 years. In the same model of PBS and NPR, we are a nonprofit 501c3 organization whose mission is to educate and serve the LGBTQ plus community. Next at the FayWhat show, we gotta help our gay boys. And in our segment called Dear FayWhat, I provide my expert lesbian knowledge and my vast experience as a living, breathing gay boy in a lesbian's body to help my fellow gay boys. This week, Jim H. sent me an email. Dear FayWhat and Hot Boy in Bed. I'd say I'm pretty adventurous in the bedroom. I've never been one to shame anyone for their turn-ons, and I'm willing to try a lot of different things in the name of being experimental and free. That said, this guy I've been dating asked me for something I had never heard of before. When we were in the middle of a steamy encounter, he asked me if I would lick his eyeball. I thought he was kidding at first, so I laughed, but he looked at me dead serious and said, quote, "No, really, can you?" I laughed it off some more and told him I couldn't do that right now. After we were done, I asked him if he was really serious about that request, and he started talking about it. He said the thought of it drives him crazy, but that he doesn't know why. He mumbled something about it being the ultimate intimacy and a mixture of bodily fluids. Okay. I Googled it later, and it turns out eyeball licking is an actual fetish some people have. The idea of doing this for him really weirds me out. But at the same time, it also kind of turned me on to be one of the rare few who would satisfy this bizarre urge for him. It doesn't hurt that he's beyond hot and our chemistry is fire. Should I just fulfill his fantasy even though it grosses me out? Is this even sanitary? Sign, Jim H.
Oh my God.
I love how authentic you are with these because you're always like, wait, I'm never going to be surprised by one of these. And every time you're like, wait a minute.
This is a first for me. This is a first for me.
So no one's ever asked you to lick their eyeball?
No, they haven't. But what fascinates me is like a guy will totally motorboat another guy's ass and then ask you if licking somebody's eye is sanitary or not.
In the same breath.
Is it sanitary? I don't know. And it grosses him out. Okay. I love this letter. Okay. Thank you. Oh my God.
Come on, but I appreciate that him being genuine and real about it. That literally is how he's feeling, you know?
It kind of reminds me, like, maybe if your contact is dirty and you put it on, that's probably what happens if you, like, lick somebody's eye.
Okay.
I would imagine it would just a little, like, their saliva would, like, blur things for a little bit, and then, I mean, if they have a cold, you'll probably catch it.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, so I looked it up because I was like, is this really a fetish, right? And it really is a fetish, and it's called oculonictus, or something like oculonictus, or something like oculo? Oculo?
So that's
oculolinctus.
Oculolinctus, yeah.
Yes, okay, that's what it is. And according to Wikipedia, it's also known as worming and refers to the practice of licking eyeballs for erotic gratification. And supposedly this kink started in Japan.
Of course. I don't know.
You know, and supposedly it's like the next best thing that came out of Japan since Pokemon, according to some reviews. I'm just saying, you know, so the fetish exists, you know. I mean, like if you said he's hot and you have steamy sex, I mean,
this hot guy comes up to you and he goes, "So are you into worming or what?" Immediately I'll go to like some sort of like penis rub.
Yes, I thought it was like rubbing of the worms.
No, that's frottage.
Ah, okay, good. You're learning all the terminology today, so you know. Okay?
That's what I know about.
You know, but I mean, You're still laughing. I mean, again, I like, why not? Like, if you like him and he likes you, dating is not easy. If it's just an F, then I mean, like,
if you're two consenting adults and nobody gets hurt.
I mean, you know, and then again, let's go back and reiterate what Alex started off with. It's hysterical that you're asking us if this is sanitary after you've done everything else not sanitary. You know what I mean? You might want to talk to somebody about that. You know what I mean?
Totally.
But keep those emails coming at FayWhat@happeningout.com because we love them and we love your authenticity and we love that you're able to ask us anything like licking eyeballs. And I get to learn stuff too. I mean, who knew?
I learned today. Yeah.
You know, and for Alex to learn.
I learned.
That's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah.
All right. So it's the beginning of November. We still have like 2 weeks, I guess, till Thanksgiving. How is everything at the Eagle? My favorite place. Hi, Chuck King. Oh my God. I met the other owner of the Eagle, Salvo.
Yeah, he's funny, isn't he?
I met him the other day.
Yeah,
he is so cute and sweet.
He's a good
and I
person,
hated that somebody introduced us. I think it was Charles Horton from Lit. It introduced us and he's like, oh, this is Salvo. And I'm like, hi, you know, my normal, hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. Great, blah, blah, blah. And then I walk away. And then my brother Tony, he's like, oh, that's Salvo. He's the other owner of the Eagle. I'm like, bitch, why wouldn't you have said he's the other owner of the Eagle? Because I love the Eagle that much.
There is a pyramid at the Eagle and he is the top. Like he's the head.
Okay.
Yeah. But he's so nice and so unassuming, so funny and so charming.
Yes.
Yeah. He always.
And he was super sweet.
Very, very
super
sweet.
Sweet. I loved meeting him. Hello, Salvo. What else is going on at? You guys have a lot going on over at the Eagle.
Me and Frank, my other bartender, we won the Halloween employee costume contest. I was Elphaba.
I love that. You look so good. And he was Glinda.
He was Glinda and I was Elphaba. And, you know, and then it got really hot. And then I was just covered in green glitter at the end to take everything out. And it was
when
fun.
I saw the initial picture, like, he looked good, right? He was all green. He had the wig thing on. He had this black thing on. He looked like, you know, it was awesome. But I was like, that's a lot of clothes for you,
Eagle,
Alex.
Yeah,
like, for the Eagle and for you, though.
For the Eagle, so then Elphaba has a harness and a jockstrap on. That's it. Yeah.
As she should.
Yes,
Watch the Wicked movie coming up in 2 weeks. Are you going to watch it?
I am. I love
me
that.
too.
First of all, I love that musical. So yeah.
Yeah. No, me
and
too.
Cynthia Erivo have you heard her sing before?
Yes.
It's unreal.
She's amazing.
One of the best voices I've ever heard.
And I love that she is unapologetically who she is. You know what I mean? Like, people were changing the flyer, right? And not letting her eyes be shown. And she went off on people like, hell, F no. You know?
Does not hold back. Yeah,
you know? And
that
made me like her even more. And with that made me like Ariana more.
Yeah. Good good pair, like a good casting. She's really right for that, and it seems like an interesting chemistry between them. I can't wait to see it.
You know, I was thinking about an interview that Al Ferguson did with Idina Menzel, and about how, like, us queer people watching Wicked, we always kind of like notice how tight Glinda and Elphaba are, and like they have like their own love story. Right. In Wicked, you know? I mean, at least for me, it's so apparent that the guy that they're all fawning over, you know he's gay.
Yeah.
Yes or no?
I mean, allegedly.
Allegedly. Just saying. Yeah, Thanksgiving? Anything good?
No, just going to a friend's house. We're gonna be a big gathering, and then I have to go to another friend's house. So we're gonna be like grazing from one.
Do you bring stuff to each house yourself in a jackstrap?
You know, no, I don't bring but like usually. What do we make? An onion, a green bean casserole?
Candied yams?
I'll go to like Publix and pick something up and just put it in a...
Okay. You just say, put it in a different bowl and say you did it.
Bring beverages. I'm not a big, you know...
I love you.
I'm there.
That's it. You're the gift. That's what I'm saying. What did I bring? I brought me.
I brought me, damn it. No.
What more do you want?
It's impolite to not bring something. I usually bring something.
Well, no, you know, I have, you know, part of AA is to do a gratitude list, and you try to do it every evening. I do it. Yeah. And I remember initially not having anything to write on this list, right? And my sponsor would say, okay, you opened up your 2 eyes today, right? Yeah. Like, she would have to tell me things to write on this list because I didn't see the positivity and everything. And, you know, Thanksgiving is all about gratitude and being thankful. So I do like a good list, like around Thanksgiving. And I just want you to know that you're on my list.
Thank you.
You are.
Thank you.
I'm just grateful for our friendship, for how much you've taught me, for what an amazing human you are.
Yeah. Thank you for allowing me to come here. 3 years.
I know.
I can't.
I know. Can you believe that?
I love coming here.
Oh my God. I adore you.
I adore you. Mwah.
I love you.
Love
Thank you.
you
Make
too.
sure you follow Alex Tikas, okay, on social media, and also you go to the Eagle and you say hello to him, all right? All right. Did you know that the Happening Out Television Network studios are located at Sunshine Cathedral Square, which also houses Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church located in Fort Lauderdale? We broadcast their Sunday service every week at 10:30 a.m. Before I move ahead, let me remind you the Travel Club is planning Machu Picchu and Peru by train, departing on September 17th, 2025. We're going to be broadcasting shows at Machu Picchu, Lima, and a whole lot more. Join us if you love to have fun. Here, take a look and find out more at happeningout.travel/FayWhat. FayWhat Show, we want to introduce you to interesting people who are important to our LGBTQ plus community. This morning, I present to you an interview with one such influential queer trailblazer. Here's Harold Marrero. Take a look. I'm excited about my next guest on the FayWhat Show. I'm excited to get this pastor in bed. Said no lesbian ever, right? Can you even think about that? This is Harold Marrero, Chief Operating Officer of Safe Schools South Florida and pastor at No Reservations, a collective awakening church. Harold is committed to fostering authenticity and inclusivity through his leadership and creative endeavors, and he's with us at the FayWhat Show. Thank you for being with us, Harold.
I'm so happy to be here. I'm good. How are you?
Good. How long have I been trying to get you in bed?
Oh, it's been a long time.
Right?
It's been a while, yeah.
Because I had the pleasure of meeting, I don't even remember when the hell I met you, but then we reconnected again on Queer News Tonight, and you've always had so much great things to say, you
Oh,
know?
thank you.
So we love having you on Queer News tonight. And just, you know, just your whole authenticity, just who you are. You like wear it on your sleeve. And I so appreciate that.
Thank you. Yeah, I think we met through Unity Coalition
I think
back
so.
in the day.
Oh my God, Herb. Hi,
Yeah.
Herb. Oh,
Hey,
I
Herb.
love Herb. You know, Herb has a way of making people meet, right? Like he has a way of meeting, like it's not 6 degrees of separation, it's how many degrees to Herb.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
It's something like that.
Herb knows everybody in the queer community in South Florida, so
Oh, he's awesome.
it's awesome.
So, Safe School South Florida, such an important organization. I love all the people over there, and we're going to talk a little bit about them in a bit. But you are so interesting to me and so important to our community. You know, church and LGBTQ plus have had such a strained relationship. You
Yes.
know, you're a gay Cuban American pastor.
Yep.
You know, a theology whiz. You know, it wasn't easy for you to come out, was it?
No, it was very hard, and the whole process of what has kept me in the church is because even though I grew up evangelical, and then I went Pentecostal, and I came
What?
out. Yeah, I came out while I was in a Pentecostal church,
Okay.
and I came out to my parents when I was 21. It's funny because people joke about this, but like literally, my dad was listening behind a door. We were in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. And now I know, like, shame on me for coming out, in the mountains of Tennessee.
Right.
But my mom kept asking questions. She's like, just kept asking questions and kept asking questions, and I'm like,
Because the mom always knows,
Yeah.
Harold, you know?
and I had like a girlfriend, but it wasn't really my girlfriend. It was my boyfriend at the time. And she was like, just tell me the truth. I'm like, do you really want to know? She's like, yes. I said, well, I'm gay. And
And this was while on vacation
while on
in
vacation
Gatlinburg.
on December 23rd.
Coño, you really have
I
it.
know.
Antes de Nochebuena,
Antes
you
de
come and tell
Nochebuena.
your mom
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
And
so
your dad, you're saying, is
my
in the
dad-
other room listening.
No, my dad is in the door listening.
Con un vaso, with a cup,
Yeah,
just listening.
yeah, exactly. And when I say that, my mom was like, "No, that's a lie." And then my dad swings the door open,
Very dramatic.
and literally throws a Bible at me. I am not kidding. Like, I wish I was kidding, but he literally throws a Bible at me.
Okay, like a leather one, soft, or like a hard one?
A leather one. It was a soft leather one. It's his Bible, and he throws it at me. And he's like, "That is the devil's. Like, you've been confused with the devil." And at this point in my life, I was like, I was ready for it. I was prepared. But no matter how much preparation you take, like you do,
There isn't
when
enough.
it's happening, you're
Yes.
like, what is happening right now?
Oh my God! Wow.
So,
What was was church? You said that your parents went to Pentecostal church, right?
Yeah.
Were they deeply rooted in the church?
yeah. So my dad had gone through a cancer scare, and that's what led us into the Pentecostal church because
Okay.
he was looking for faith healings and whatever. I kind of follow along because which is what I did back then, and I worked at the church. So the church that I was at, like me and my ex husband were working there. We were running the media. We were actually youth leaders. We were part
So
of the
your
board.
boyfriend was also a part of this
Yes,
same church.
yes,
So
yes.
you're both in the closet. You
Both in the
met in
closet.
the church.
And get this, we literally worked in a closet because they gave us a closet to put our computers and stuff. So we were literally working in the closet of the church.
So tell me how did you come out to each other? Like, was there a look? Was there something where you just like, because obviously you're coming out to each other, but you can't tell everybody else that's around you in this church.
Right. So when you mean me and my ex?
Yes.
So we started going to church together. So I really thought that everybody knew. I mean, we showed up in the same car for a year. For a year, we showed up in the same car. We stayed with the
Their
same car.
outfits matched, but nobody knew.
We lived in the same house. I was like, okay.
Okay.
So when I came out to my parents outed me to the pastors. And they did this whole fake thing that we were gonna do, like this conference, this youth conference, and I had to go if I wanted to continue to work with the youth. And I knew what it was. It was like a pray away the gay thing.
Yeah.
And they brought down this guy from Atlanta who prayed away the gay, and they targeted all of the LGBTQ plus or suspected LGBTQ plus people in the church.
Because we're everywhere.
Yeah. And so we were targeted, and it just turned into this like weird thing. I mean, it's just a whole story behind it. But
wow.
But that church kicked me out. But I was already ready for it. Like when I came out to my parents, I was like, okay, this is all going to boil over into what I'm doing with the church. So we were already me and my ex, we were looking for another church, and we actually got a phone call from the pastor of Coral Gables Congregational United Church of Christ, one of the pastors there, wanted us to film, because we had a film company. He wanted us to film one of his sermons for his doctorate at the seminary that I actually started going to later on. And he got us in the middle of Georgia, where I should have no reception. I get a phone call from the church that we were already looking at. Oh. And I was like, yes, I'll do it. I don't care how much you're going to pay me. I'll do it. I'll come film your sermon. And that was really what introduced me to the United Church of Christ, and more mainline, more progressive churches.
And then you ended up going to that seminary.
Yeah, I ended up going to the seminary that he was at.
But it's like so crazy, Harold, like how, like for some people, for them to go through that would make them want to go as far away from the church as possible, right? But for you, it pushed you closer to it. On your Facebook page, right, I read a quote that you said, "Coming out to my family and church was the first profound loss of my life." Mm-hmm. That's so fucking deep. Sorry to curse, but that's like so deep.
The loss that I felt was a loss of family, a loss of community, a loss of an identity that I had developed while I was there. And the funny thing is that, people ask me, when they hear my story, they're like, why are you even still in the church? Like, why have you gone all the way to getting a doctorate in this? And I always say that even though the people around me were saying different things about queer people, I felt deep in my heart that, the God that is reflected in Christ cannot possibly hate me. And does not hate me, and I feel loved by this force in the universe that I don't want to quantify by calling it anything. It's like I just feel loved by something so much greater than myself, something so much greater than all of us. That to me, I was able to put words through it through Christianity, and now as I'm older, like I see that there are so many ways of tapping into that force, tapping into that love, tapping into that uniqueness, what makes us so awesome. Especially when we're operating authentically, that's when we are reflecting this pure divinity. So that's
when we shine the brightest, right? When we get to be our true authentic self. And unfortunately, so many of us don't really get to, or are fearful about it. I mean, you have like the textbook hard coming out, right? Your parents are involved in a church that hate us, that thinks that we're an abomination, right? Throwing a Bible at you and all that. Like, you know that I'm really involved with Unity on the Bay, and I'm constantly screaming to whoever will hear me that you can be spiritual and you can be queer, right? That there are churches that will welcome us with open arms, and you are always speaking on the intersection with theology, technology, and everyday parts of life. Speak a little bit about that. Like, we've been so marginalized, us queer folks, that we think that there isn't a place for us when it comes to religion.
Yeah, and it's so unfortunate because for me, and speaking from a Christian perspective, the Christian church is supposed to be a place of refuge, a place of community, a place where diversity is not only expected but celebrated. And the early church movement during the first century, second century, and third century, because they were oppressed and they weren't the majority, they did have a much more communal attitude towards one another and towards the communities that they served. And back then, when you stepped into a church, you would have seen every single aspect of Roman society sitting at a table, sharing a meal together, and everyone was equal. And I thought, that is, we take that for granted today because of how we have the West has developed in this Christian Judeo framework, but back then that was wild. Even today, when you go in, like Martin Luther King Jr. said that, I think it was MLK that said that church, the Sunday morning hour is still the most segregated moment in the United States. Even today, there aren't.
Oh my God, that's so true, huh?
Yeah, even today there aren't that much diversity in churches. Churches like yours do. Churches like mine. We seek out the diversity, but most don't. They're formed with people that look like them, that act like them, that have their same values. And I'm so really inspired by the first century movement and by the early church movement that I'm like, this is what we should be like. This is what we need to look like. Because when we look like that, when we bring all these people in, all this diversity in, we start to really see the full face of whatever God is to you. because we're all little reflections of the divine. And as I get to know you, as I get to know people that are different from me, I get to see another piece of God. And the more diverse that we are, the more together that we are, the more we learn from each other, the more that we can truly see what the human condition is all about.
You know,
which is love.
And that's it, right? When I initially thought of God, I would think of love, right? And when I think of love, I think of inclusivity. I don't think of a place that would disclude you, right? And that's why religion is so confusing. I can only speak for me. And again, you know how committed I am to unity on the Bay. With that being said, a big Latin, big juicy but, the Bible scares me.
Yeah.
Okay, the Bible scares me. You know, I have great people around me like Reverend Juan Del Hierro, like yourself, like Darrell over here at Sunshine Cathedral. And, you know, it gives me hope and it gives me joy when theology whizzes like you remind us that the Bible was translated 1 million times, that they purposely took us out of the Bible, you know? Can you tell our viewers a little bit about that?
Sure. So there are the famous 7 clobber verses that are used against the LGBT community, the LGBTQ plus community.
Leviticus.
Leviticus.
Their favorite one.
Right. There's Leviticus, there's one in Romans, there's one in Corinthians, and there's one in Timothy. And then people talk about the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. I just cannot, I don't even, you know, touch on that, because the story of Sodom and Gomorrah has nothing to do with queer people. It's all about being inhospitable and just awful, right?
Yeah.
So that's all this about. So I don't even touch that sometimes when people talk about it. But then the other ones, it's like those verses are A, taken out of context. B, they're written by in a different time by people of a different time, and the ones in the New Testament, the ones that are associated with Paul, none of them are talking about modern queer relationships. They're talking about even the 2 words that are used in Corinthians, and Timothy is a copy of Corinthians. So people have to understand that Timothy is just saying what Corinthians says. It's not a separate letter.
Okay.
The 2 Greek words that are used there are words that no longer make sense to us in the present moment. We don't know what those original words meant. And if you look at older translations from the Latin to the Greek and then for the Latin, the 2 words were translated into people, humans that abuse themselves with others, like rape, or people that or temple prostitutes. Nothing there is about queer people. None of it. And in Romans, you know, Romans is written in a way that Paul is saying, you know, you keep saying that the people around you are doing this, and that. But then right after he says that, he's like, but you're no one to judge. Don't judge people. It's literally right there. And I love how Christians, particularly a certain brand of Christianity, takes that verse, pulls that only the statement that they want and ignore what's before and ignore what's after. And that's what happens all the time.
Yeah.
People, you know, cherry pick the Bible. They use what they want to use to defend their hatred.
What's good for them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then they ignore the rest. And to me, the Bible is so much more than these clobber verses. I mean, the Bible has immense human wisdom. When you read books like Ecclesiastes, that is like deep theological wisdom that talks about how, you know, guys, like, life sucks. Life is chaotic. There is chaos. It doesn't matter if you're good or evil. I mean, it rains on both, right? But it says, but the best thing that you can do is eat, drink, and be merry, and do what you can with this life. You are the one that makes choices in how you react to things, and as long as you're living a good life and you are, you know, the way in which you love others showcases what you think about God. So if you're loving other people, if you're not hurting other people, if you're just being good to your neighbor, then that is a reflection of whatever God you serve. And that's in there. And also Ecclesiastes says it's not good for humans to be alone. You know, like we have to be together. We have to be, you know, united, or not even that, but like have people around us that would care about us, that uplift us. Yeah. And there's so much wisdom in there, and people just like people ignore it. And what sucks is that it gets in the way of even, you know, people in the queer community. Because the Bible has been used so much to hurt us, we tend to not even want to touch it.
Yeah.
When there's so much that we can, like, you know.
And that's what I mean, Harold, that like coño, you got hit with a Bible. You know what I mean? I don't know about I don't know if a Bible should trigger your ass now, and it doesn't, you know? But I can't, sometimes I would love, I've heard that there's recipes and there's wonderful things in the Bible, but it scares the living shit out of me. You understand? And that sucks. And so I need it given to me in small doses and in a way that I can clearly understand, right? And Reverend Juan does that over at Unity and the Bay. Darrell does that. You do that at your church. We need it like that because we're so marginalized by this damn black book.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Tell me about your church now, the church that you presently reside at.
Yeah, so my church is called No Reservations.
I love that name.
Thank you. Yeah, this name was actually, it was born, so when I first started at Coral Gables Congregational Church, United Church of Christ, there were only 4 people that were in my age range. And the rest were just like, they were older, wiser people. I want to say wise because I don't want to say old.
Elders.
Elders. They were wise elders. And but I'm like, this, you know, the theology that is being spoken about in this church, the community that they're trying to build, it resonates so much with millennials, with people from my age demographic, that I wanted to grow the group. So that's what I said. That's what I did. I put myself out there to try to grow something. And the group went through 3 variations before we had like a good number of like core people. And then one day we were like sitting outside of Pasión del Cielo in Coral Gables, next to Graciano's Marketplace. And we were talking and we're like, you know, we should like have a name for the group, and we should form, you know, like some structure. So we came up with the name No Reservations. And we actually voted. It was between No Reservations and Crossroads, but Crossroads sounded too much like the Britney Spears movie. So we were like, no, we can't compete with Santa Britney.
And only Santa Britney, right? And only gay boys are like, no, you can't go past Crossroads.
We can't go there. No,
you can't.
So we voted on No Reservations, and the name stuck. And you know, the group went from being only a group from that church to be a multi-church group. And then when we I started working for Miami Beach Community Church. The church is on Lincoln Road. And then there we had a nighttime contemporary worship service that we ran. And the group just kept growing and growing and growing. And then during the pandemic, obviously the pandemic brought everything to a halt. But that's when I really focused on school and to finish. You know, I finished my master's at Chicago Theological Seminary at the University of Chicago. And then I got accepted into Duke Divinity School for my doctorate. Yeah, it's like Duke represents. And
Duke school loans, Duke.
and I focused on that, and I wrote a lot about the group. I did a lot of introspection because I was part of the program that I was in. And what came out of that was just a relaunch of the ministry. And I'm doing the ministry now with my husband, Dr. Daniel Sheridan, who's a psychologist. And his funny thing is that he wanted to go to seminary when he first got out of school. He was Catholic. He wanted to be a priest, but then he realized that he can't be a priest and, you know, be himself. So he went down the psychology road. So I
love that. So you're 2 nerds together. I love
so
that.
He calls it like almost like a full circle moment that he's now running a church with me. And on our church is, we don't have a set space. Like our house, I guess, is like the church house. And it's really based on the first century church model, where we go out into the community, we do events in the community, and our worship services are not traditional worship service, but you know what we do is brunch and bingo. So on Sunday mornings, we go to the local brew house, MIA Brew House, and there we do bingo.
I love that.
And in between each of the bingo games, we do like a little uplifting message, and we ask people to come up when whoever wins, and we ask them questions. Each week we have a like a question that we focus on, and people talk about their lives, their experiences, and then we have like a little message in between them, and then that's it. So people are going to church
at a bar.
At a bar. Yeah.
And you don't get any backlash from that? I'm just thinking, Harold, because I know you live in Westchester. My mother-in-law lives in Westchester. Whenever I go visit, I got to go by Tamiami Park with all the Trumpsters, and they're out there with their banners and everything. You're Cuban. Like, none of that. You don't get no backlash there at all?
No, in fact, the first event that we did with them was something called Pa Todos, which is for everybody in Spanish.
Yeah.
And that's like the No Reservations. That's like our main event, you know, the main event that we bring the whole community together. And we did a drag show at the bar in Doral with the Imperial Sun Court drag queens.
I love the Imperial Sun Court.
Yeah.
Eric, hi everybody.
And they came and it was amazing. In fact, the bar said that was the sales from that day were the highest grossing sales that they had that year.
Oh wow. Imagine that.
So no, I don't get a backlash, and I do feel that there are more people that even in the part of Miami, that just want normalcy.
Yeah.
That want community.
Yeah.
That want to connect with people who are different from them. And that's what we're seeing at Brunch and Bingo. And they know we're gay. I mean, we have our table with there's a table with, with a very diverse group of people, and there's a table that have like a family and their kids. And then there's the Imperial Sun Court has come before, so all of the Imperial Sun Court queens are sitting under the table, and it's what I would imagine what heaven looks like.
Oh my God, I love that.
Everyone just together.
Yeah, like that would be like my Last Supper.
Yeah,
it would be like a bunch of drag queens, and God
families
and
everybody.
family.
Yeah, everyone just
I
together.
love that. Okay, speaking about God's work, okay, Safe Schools South Florida. Vamos a hablar de ello, okay? So Safe Schools South Florida, at the forefront of the fight against LGBTQ plus, youth, all these crazy laws and bans that are trying to be passed. You've had quite a few couple of years. Don't Say Gay was scary as shit. There was so much news about it then it dwindled. And then, where is Florida and our children now in all of these bans and everything going on today?
Honestly, we're still in a state of confusion. You have counties like Broward public school systems, which are still leading us in the forefront of like being somewhat normal. And then you have counties like Miami-Dade that are so afraid to speak out and to, be true to themselves that they continue to pass laws or not, not support educators in ways that they need to be supported.
Yeah.
And the laws are very confusing, and they're made like that on purpose. So teachers still don't know what they can say or they cannot say. Even with there was a settlement the settlement agreement that happened between Equality Florida and the state, where it was decided on, okay, you can say gay and you can do this and you can do that, but that information stays on the level of like, okay, this is what it came out of, but how does that apply to the classroom? How does it then apply to me? And each county has to do that work. And I'm very, very fortunate to know that Broward County school system is doing a great job, and Miami-Dade County is doing too. They're doing a good job, but they're bound by the system that they're in.
They're bound by DeSantis.
Yeah. And the heads of the Miami-Dade County school system. And I'm not going to use any names, but they are great people that are working with us, that are doing the best they can with what they have. And then there are people that are not. So it's a struggle. It's a struggle, and the state of our schools now in Florida is a very scary place, because even, like part of these new laws are coming out is that you can't talk about safe sex anymore, or safer sex.
Yeah.
Only abstinence.
Only abstinence. You can't even talk about condoms or anything like that.
Only abstinence. And that's
so how do you I remember taking sex ed, right? And I remember it being the first time that I was exposed to a lot of that stuff, because my parents were very religious, right? If I would have been given the wrong information at that time, so many things could have gone wrong with that, Harold, so you're going to do sex ed, but we're not going to talk about sex ed. Right. We're not going to educate you, I mean, and the rhetoric that these people hear, because these Trumpers believe it. My mother-in-law is a Trumper, right? And she really believes in her heart of hearts that kids are going to school and getting, gender reassignment surgeries.
Right.
I mean, ¿de dónde carajo? You know what I mean? And my wife has said to her, like, I went to school in Westchester. They were grooming me to be straight. If anything, why do you believe this now? Like, why is it that these horrific stories, they're preposterous is what they are. Why do people believe them, Harold?
I think people are scared. The society itself is not, many of the institutions that we used to assign a lot of trust in, many of the places that we used to say, okay, they're not going to lie to me. People feel that they're being lied to. People feel that they're not getting the true information.
Like media, social media, newspapers.
Even the institution itself. The church is failing because it's not inspiring people into action. Our academia is failing because of everything that has happened recently in the country. And that's a problem, because when you lose faith in all of the main pillars of a society, you have nothing left. And false information and crazy information, really picks up steam.
And that's not even the craziest thing she's told me, Harold. She told me that she thought that drag queens were going into elementary schools and injecting kids with shit to make them gay.
Yeah.
But you nod like you've heard this. Isn't that crazy? But then Trump can say they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, and it's like, and they still are okay with that.
Right. And it's funny because I called my mom the next day, and I'm just like, oh, did you see what he said? And she's like, oh, she always says no, he didn't say that. I'm like, no, but he did say that.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, it's kind of like distressing to think that in Cuba, when during very hard times, specifically in the 90s, during Periodo Especial, the special period, people were eating cats. People were eating dogs.
Wow.
People were eating whatever they can get their hands on. And it was because we were starving.
Yeah.
Of like pure necessity. And to just joke about that, or not us joking about it like what he said, but just the pure evil that is behind a statement like that, particularly targeting the Haitian community, is insane.
Yeah.
And I just sometimes I look around and I'm like, what is happening with Cubans that like they have no way of realizing that what Trump is doing is very similar to what was done in our country, what led us down a very dark path, and they're supporting a strongman that lies.
Yeah.
Just like Fidel Castro was a strongman that lied to us, that destroyed our island. Like we were the third largest economy in the Americas. We were Cuba was a very stable, country until the U.S. is partly to blame for this too. But whatever, we're not gonna go down the historical situations. But yeah, like all the potential that was Cuba was completely sucked away by a strong man who lied to the people.
Yeah.
And here we've seen it again, and they're supporting him.
And they're supporting it.
And it's like, wow, like, and this is where trauma, like this unprocessed trauma that has allowed them to be completely blind to the fact that they're supporting him because this is so familiar to them, and they feel that it's the only way out.
Yeah. I've never been called a communist so much like I am every time I go see my mother-in-law, right? And I had to, I was like, what? Jesus, There was a billboard in El Palmetto that was lit. I want to say it was like Big Dog Pack or one of those people that always does these great ad campaigns. And it was a picture of Fidel and it was a picture of Trump.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
And it said Cubans are picking one dictator, for another dictator, know? And I feel that like Cubans just kind of like don't even look at the billboard and just keep on going. Like they're on a mission. We must get Trump elected. And that's that, where I believe in my heart of hearts that Trump doesn't even know the difference between a Cuban and a Mexican or a Puerto Rican or anything. He just thinks that we all don't belong here.
Right. And he doesn't care. And the people that support him don't care about us either.
Yeah.
And I think that what scares me the most is not even the rhetoric that comes out with Cubans, because the Cubans have always been this way. What scares me the most is the rhetoric that has emerged from what I will call Christian nationalism, which it's so anti-Christ in many ways that it's like you guys are literally doing exactly what you claim the Bible's telling you not to do, and you're doing it, and you're supporting someone who is the Antichrist. And I'm not calling Trump the Antichrist, but all of Trump's policies are anti-Christ in what I feel Christ
anti-love.
Is. Anti-love.
Yes.
So it's strange. It's strange to see people like some Christians saying that he's like a Messiah. It's like to even use the word Messiah with Trump is crazy.
No, it's blasphemy is what it is. I mean, when the staged because again, my own personal opinion, I think it was staged. Okay, please don't start sending hate mail, right? When there were memes about like, oh, God protected him from getting shot, and there's memes of the angel holding on to him and picking him up like a Messiah, and it's like, oh my God, really? Like we're there, we're there. That's so it's scary. And so you are a huge Triumph supporter and advocate about being your true authentic self, right?
Right.
How the hell can you be your true authentic self when all these things are surrounding you, where this is what you see on TV, etc.?
Yeah, it's very difficult, and it's a very we're living in a very scary time, and I'm not trying to. It's not to scare people. I just feel like this is the truth. I mean, when you look at the UN predictions on climate change, when you look at what we should be doing to avoid catastrophe.
Yeah.
We're not. When you look at what's
Look at the
happening,
hurricanes.
look at the
Look at all of-
hurricane. When you look, poor Asheville. Like,
Poor
it's
Asheville. Okay, they were
insane.
not prepared for that because
Not
nothing like
prepared.
that has ever happened in life anywhere near there.
Right. When you look at what's happening in Ukraine, when you look at what the what's happening in Africa, it's scary. It's a scary time to be alive, but it's also a time of immense possibility. And with advancements in technologies, with advancements in how humans see themselves, particularly with science, we are at I think a liminal space, like a space in between times, where we're figuring things out. And if we're able to, survive this time, I think that we will be set for at least the next 30 or 400 years. But we're in the middle now. We're like in this very weird space. And how can you be your most authentic self in this space? I think that it takes a lot of courage for you to do that.
Yeah.
But I tell people all the time, you have to shine brightly, because when you shine, others will see you shine, and you will bring out something in them as well. You will inspire them to also shine.
I love that.
And
I love that. My reverend says something about using your candle to light somebody else's, and it just you continue
you
lighting
light the
another
darkness
candle.
instead of someone else. And people tend to only want to hang out with people that agree with them, people that look like them, people that become these echo chambers. And I think that's not okay.
Yeah.
I think people need to take that risk and befriend someone who is very much different from them. Be their friend. Invite them to dinner.
Yeah.
Bring them to your house. Do like little community dinners that you sit around a table and don't talk about politics. Just get to know each other.
Get to know each other
as people.
And you'd be surprised. You have more in common than you do different. Listen, like I've been sober almost 10 years, and my sober family are people that I probably wouldn't have looked at again, right? As friends. We look different. We're in different caste systems. We're different occupations, right? But AA brought us together. And then when you get to know a person, and we don't talk about politics. Politics is not allowed in AA for obvious reasons, right? And then you're like, coño, I went through that. Oh, wow, you went through that? And this will be a white 80-year-old guy, but we have a lot of similarities, you know? The world is crazy. Life is crazy. It's not easy being an LGBTQ plus youth. It's not easy being an LGBTQ plus me or you. It's not easy, right? I find solace in my wife. My wife is my rock, right? Crazy Cuban, but it works, right? We're polar opposites and it works, right? When the world is crazy, I know I can go home and lay on her and know that at least for the next 5 minutes, the world is going to be okay, and that's how I recharge my battery. That's how I'm able to go back out the next day and help others, right? You have a hubby who is gorgeous, Dan. Hi. And you guys make a beautiful couple.
Thank you.
How long have you guys been together now?
So actually this past August 31st is our 7 years of knowing each other.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I met him at a gay and lesbian Chamber of Commerce event. And so,
hey, you see,
it works,
single
it
people,
works. You can,
single people.
Yep.
You see?
And he was at the Colony Hotel in Coral Gables, and he walked in, and there was just like an aura around him. And I'm like, who is this person that just walked in here? And then we started talking, and we, it's kind of like a crazy situation because I was married, and he had a long-term relationship
at the time when you met.
Yeah, but both relationships were on the way out, and we in the whole process we gave plenty of time and opportunity to fix what was there,
if it was possible.
If it was possible, and it wasn't possible, and everybody knew it. So we started dating, and after we obviously broke it off with our other partners, and then we started dating, and it's been crazy. Dan has been such a supporter, and someone that lifts you up. Me going to seminary, before I met Dan, I didn't have a bachelor's, a master's, nothing.
Wow.
And then we were in the mountains of Georgia, at a friend's house. We were like, it was late at night, we were drinking some wine, looking out at the stars, and we had like this 3 or maybe 4 hour conversation on theology. And the next day when we were driving to Savannah, Dan says, you have to go to seminary. Like, I don't want to hear it. You have to go to seminary.
Wow.
And I'm like, no, they're not going to take me. Like, I had all these other excuses for myself.
Of course.
And he's like, no, let's do it. Let's apply. Wow. And same day, we applied to the seminary in Chicago. And I was like, they're not going to take me.
They took you.
2 weeks later, they're like, you have a very strong application. We want to take you. We want you to finish your bachelor's while you're doing your master's.
Wow.
So I did my bachelor's, my master's, and then right after I graduated from my master's, he's like, apply for a doctoral program. I'm like, he's like,
you're not gonna take me.
He's like, apply to Duke, and I'm like, Duke's not gonna take me. And he's like, just do it. And I did. I applied to Duke and I applied to BU, but Boston University, and they both took me.
Wow.
And I chose Duke because I just I love Duke, and I loved the program at Duke was one that I really wanted to get into.
And wait a minute. And during all this, you decided to get married?
Yeah. Not only that, but decided to get married. We had to buy a house because they raised our rent like crazy in Coral Gables after the pandemic was over, or technically, whatever, it's not over, but after the pandemic was, officially done. And yes, we got married, bought a house, and I continued my doctoral program.
Wow. That's incredible. Does he ever try to psycholize you? Like, does he ever try to be like, how does that make you feel? Because I hate, my wife does that shit to me. Everyone, no te pongas con eso. Vete para allá con eso. Does he ever try to go like, how did that make you feel?
No, he won't do that, but he has something that I call Tara Reid, where he reads me to filth. And when he does it, I'm like, oh, I didn't know that Tara Reid had come in and sat on the couch today. Like, I didn't know that she was here today. So he's like,
he should have a pair of glasses that he puts on when he does the Tara Reid, so then you know what's going on.
Yeah. So he'll read me to filth, and and it's always very true.
True. Okay. So we're gonna play a quick game here called My Boo or Me. All right. And so it's a quick question and answer. And so I'm gonna ask you something, and you say, if it's him, you say my boo, and if it's me, you say me. Okay. All right. Here we go.
Ready.
You ready? All right. Me or my boo? Here we go. With Harold Marrero. Here we go. Okay. Who makes breakfast?
Neither.
Why you gotta fuck up my game?
Okay.
Harold?
Wait. Okay. Fine. My boo. He makes me coffee. He actually. Okay. This is very cute. He brings me coffee every morning.
Okay, but that's breakfast to some people.
Yes.
To waif models that don't eat, that's breakfast.
Yes, he brings me coffee every morning. He gives me a kiss on the forehead.
Okay, so then it is him. You see Dan taking away from how good your coffee is. Do it. All right. Who drives when you go out?
Me.
Who steals the covers?
Me.
Who curses more?
My boo.
Who is more fashionable?
Oh, my boo.
Who controls the remote control?
Me.
Who looks in the mirror more?
My boo.
Who sings in the car?
My boo.
Who wants to leave an event first?
My boo.
Who would send the food back if it wasn't good?
Me.
Who does your dog love more?
My boo.
Who is more needy?
Me?
Thank you for playing My Boo or Me. Thank you, Harold, for being on the FayWhat Show.
Oh, thank
Please
you.
look into that camera and say your best FayWhat.
FayWhat?
Yes, I love it. Follow Safe Schools South Florida and Harold Marrero on Facebook. That's facebook.com. Harold.Marrero, all right? And Safe Schools South Florida is also on there, always doing incredible things. Harold, thank you so much for taking the time and being with me. Te quiero tanto.
Yes, I love you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Promise, let's do this. Will you come back on the show and let's try to combat some more theology crap that scares the rest of us?
I would love to. We can do a whole theological episode.
Could we do that? I mean, I'm telling you, there are a lot more interesting things than we know of, right, in the Bible, because it scares a lot of us, right? And I think Harold is the right guy to make it a little softer and a little smoother. And queer people, religion and spirituality is for you too.
It is.
Right here.
It is.
Okay? Look. Okay? We'll be right back. So that's it. That's the FayWhat Show. I hope you had fun. Thank you so much to Alex Tikas for joining me in bed, and of course Harold Marrero as well for an incredible interview. Thank you so much. I'm really passionate about trying to connect the L and the G in our LGBTQ plus community. It's often hard for us girls, but if we believe we are one strong community, then we must support all the letters of our LGBT and Q plus. We opened the show with a nod to Mary Tyler Moore and That Girl's Marlo Thomas. This show is dedicated to a strong LGBTQ plus community. I just encourage you to be a little bit kinder, a little bit funnier, and embrace our tremendous diversity. It really is what makes us so strong. Until then, make sure you follow me on all social media outlets, Facebook, IG, TikTok, YouTube, you know the drill. Follow FayWhat. And since you're always on the go, you can listen to The FayWhat Show wherever you listen to your podcast at. Just search The FayWhat Show. Until next Monday, world, at 9 a.m. live or anytime on demand. I'm FayWhat, and I am #ThatGirl. I wish you a week full of sunshine and rainbows. Stay gay.
Rainbows, gay boys, #that girl. Sunbeams, drag queens, L word. is that girl, the girl of all our dreams. She's everything that every girl should be. Aqua, South Beach, hashtag that girl, pride-filled tea dance, Wilton is that girl, Latina, but she's universal too.